So for this one, we're going to be simplifying fractions. This is kind of the next step on the fraction train. We've done fractions, we know how to multiply them. The next step is try to figure out how to divide and also how to simplify them. For this case, we're going to be simplifying them. So when we simplify fractions, we are reducing the numbers on both top and the bottom. We learned through equivalent ratios, it's a big important word, we learned that a couple weeks ago, that as long as you change the top and the bottom by the same number, the ratio is still the same. Okay, let's just repeat that. We learned through the equivalent ratios that as long as you change the top and the bottom by the same number, the ratio is still the same. The same can be applied to fractions. Because at the end of the day, fractions are just ratios. They're the same. So, if I have here, I have 4 divided by 8 or 4/8. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to reduce both the top and the bottom by the same number until I can't reduce them by the same number anymore. If I do that, I'll find, oh, I can divide both of these things by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. If I pull out a calculator, and I said to myself, I'm not sure I believe this. I want to prove it. Okay, so I have 4 divided by 8 is going to be 0.5. Now, okay, with 0.5. I want to prove that these are the same. So, 1 divided by 2 is also 0.5. These are exactly the same, just written in different ways because I simplified it. To simplify fractions, we have to do the same thing independently. The idea is to get the lowest possible fraction. This is called the lowest terms. It's called the lowest terms. So, first step, identify what you can divide both the top and the bottom by. Second step, divide both the top and the bottom by that number. Then step 3, repeat if necessary. So for here, I have 10 over 20, 10 20ths. Okay, so I'm just going to start with one I know. I know I can divide both 10 and 20 by 2. Let's do divide by 2. Whatever I do at the top, I have to do the bottom. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Now I have 5/10. I know that I can divide both of those things by 5. So I can divide this by 5. Divide by 5 equals 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. If I want to check it, I'll find 10 divided by 20 is 0.5. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. They are exactly the same. They are equivalent. This next one, 12 divided by 16. Well, I could do 2. I know they're both even, so I can divide both of them by 2. But I know I can also divide both of them by 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. So if I divide both of these by 4, I will get 12 divided by 4 is 3. 16 divided by 4 is 4. I don't think I can divide either of those by the same thing anymore. So that's my final answer. I just want to check to make sure. 12 divided by 16 is 0.75. 3 divided by 4 is also 0.75. So I'm in good shape. They are indeed equivalent. Next one, much harder. 28 divided by 32. Off the top of my head, I just can't remember what I can do there, so I'm going to have to start small and do what I know. So I know I can divide both these by 2. They're both even. 28 divided by 2. 28 divided by 2 is 1. Drop the 8. It's going to be 14. So that's 14. 32 divided by 2 is 16. Okay. They're both still even, so I can divide both of them again by 2. 14 divided by 2 is going to be 7. 16 divided by 2 is going to be 8. I can't divide 7 and 8 by the same number. So that is my final answer. That is the simplified fraction, 7 divided by 8. If you have any questions about how to simplify fractions, we're going to be covering a lot in class. It's going to be a long journey with these. But once you know it, and it's in there for good. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.